Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for being here. And today we're going to have a little look at our values and our principles. So in the last video, which I will link up here, I was talking about getting our health in check for the first kind of goal that we want to be looking at in our January, because when it comes to January, we do goals, we resolutions and all of this kind of thing that we want to achieve, but we want to have a good mindset surrounding it all. And so we do want to get connected to that in the month of January, giving ourselves that kind of few minutes of our day to check in with ourselves, see if there's anything we need to improve on in our health, in our mind, in our body, in our eating habits or anything like that. And from there, then we can kind of start to look at our resolutions and our goals. So after we look at that, which should be the first thing on our list, then we want to look at our values and our principles. Our values and our principles then will come in when we look at the core value system that we currently exist in, that we operate from. So when we have a core value system, we are operating from that value system on a daily basis. And this can be something in a positive way, but we can also have values that are, not going to say negative because they're kind of true to us, but they can be unreasonable, for instance. So let's say for an example of that, we are wanting to manifest things that are in a relationship, and we have this big long list of things, and while we can manifest this big long list of things, there may be some things on there that are a bit too far-fetched in relation to what another human being is. So a lot of the time we can be looking for perfection, and when we look for perfection, I'm not saying that you would manifest it, but we then become triggered then if somebody shows up in an imperfect way. And when I say imperfect, it could be something simple. And from that, then, if we are kind of really deep in with our core value system, we may start to sabotage the relationship, or we may start to think differently about what it is that we want in relation to this person. So when we look at our value system, we want to be looking at it from this perspective as well as the positive, that yes, our values are to be seen as positive all the time, but sometimes because of the way that we have interpreted society, the way that we have been brought up, we may have some unreasonable kind of values that are not relatable to the whole, I suppose, of humanity. So when we think about it from this perspective, we can start to ask ourselves about our values, and we can say, okay, well, maybe I am I'm not as open-minded as I maybe could be in this certain area of my life. So I'm going to kind of evaluate my values on this, and I'm going to embody this kind of openness and open-mindedness to what it is that I am creating. Because remember, you never have to really know how anything manifests, because the how kind of takes care of itself once you kind of get your mindset in order and you clarify whatever it is that you are creating. So when we get that kind of identified, then we start looking at the principles that will guide us in this way. So our principles will guide us into the behaviors and to actually help us to embody the habit of showing up as this person who is recognizing the values, the core values that we actually want to behave from. So our principles then will allow us then to show up in different ways. So if we start to value this kind of idea of open-mindedness, our principles then will guide us in the behaviors where we will maybe start doing things that are different to what we usually do. Maybe we take up a different activity, or maybe we are open our mind to reading up on different things that we may not have, that we stayed away from before because our values were so kind of structured that we didn't want to open our mind to this other perception. So when we start to guide ourselves through this principle of open-mindedness, that is when, other things can start to come in. And if you have this kind of goal or this manifestation in your mind of creating a relationship, the principle of your open-mindedness will be in correlation with your value system, leading you to people, places and things that you may not have experienced before, or even wanted to experience before, because of the old value system that you had, if that makes sense. So while it does that, this is when you can find yourself in situations where you meet somebody unexpectedly, and they can be everything on your list and all of this kind of thing, because you allowed yourself to value this different kind of way of thinking when it came to your relationships, and your principles guided you then to this whole openness and this kind of open-mindedness to this new world as well too. So I'm actually going to leave this video short and sweet, as I just wanted to explain that from that kind of perspective, that when we look at our value system, it's not always about being that they're always positive, because sometimes they can be a bit unreasonable in terms of our interrelationships and how we actually interact with other people in our reality. So I'll leave the video there, and I will be posting another video soon as well too. But until then, thank you so much for joining me, and I will talk to you soon.